Okay, we'll start with your reaction to Luka's reaction.
I thought the video was so good, it was almost unfair to him. Because I thought we were joking about what type of video are they going to do and what weird position they were in when they trade him away and then to make, because of the fan reaction, almost feel a need to be like, hey, here's what we know that you don't know.
You thought they were going to show him like drinking?
Well, I didn't think that, but I did think that this franchise's stance was clearly can't win a championship with this guy. You know, maybe a little overrated in the eyes of the fans, all these things. And so I didn't know if they were going to include in the video the step back three over Rudy Gobert to give them a stranglehold on the conference finals. Instead, they did a perfect tribute video, and the reason I said it was almost too good is because it made Luka cry.
Yeah.
And I know some people watching probably, I haven't cried since I was 6 years old, and some people watching cry all the time. For most of us that cry on a rare occasion, think back to the last time you cried, and if 90 seconds later they were like, hey, we need you to do your job the best you can possibly do it, if you'd be able to. I wouldn't. I got emotional watching Luka get emotional, and I'm just sitting there drinking wine watching the game. And so the short version is, Brew, legendary players do legendary things, and that to me was an all-time response to an unprecedented situation of having the rug pulled out on you and being reminded, if he didn't already know, this whole building loves me.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought I was going to be here forever.
Yeah, I have an image, a public image.
Oh, yeah.
Old school, rough and tumble.
Yes,
yeah.
of course.
Yeah. Brutal, young people be soft.
Yeah.
But I've realized the older I get, the easier it is for me to cry.
Yeah, I believe that.
Now, I
entirely.
did not cry last night.
Yeah.
But seeing Luka cry, I almost cried.
Yeah.
Like I could have, if I let myself go, I probably could have cried. I mean, that was a love fest.
Mm-hmm.
That was great. That was fantastic. I will get to how he played, but I thought it was great. And Nick, with the video, it wasn't, obviously they showed a lot of his highlights from the court, but they showed, I thought some of the most touching things were just seeing how young he was when he first got there, how he was a thinner, he just looked like a little boy.
Definitely thinner.
Yeah. But then they had the Mavericks employees saying thank you, Luka, and all. Look, Dallas, obviously they made a stupid trade, but that was classy.
Yes.
That was a classy move not to make it just, they obviously weren't going to do a negative video, but they didn't even it wasn't it wasn't middle, right? It wasn't middle of the road. It wasn't your basic, here's some highlights.
Yeah, I think
of course,
Jimmy's
he was great.
video was kind of middle of the road.
Yeah. This was really touching, man. And I thought, Nick, it was actually the exact opposite of, ironically, his teammate now, LeBron James, when LeBron went back to Cleveland as a Miami Heat player. And it was so negative. I mean, it was incredible. They had signs with traitor on it. And, I mean, the vitriol, I've never seen, and I've covered the league for almost 30 years. 30 years, actually. I've never seen an atmosphere that negative. And, of course, LeBron went out and played great, 38 points in 3 quarters, and Luka did the same thing. So it was fantastic last night all the way around for Luka.
I want to show you this tweet from Trae Young, and they obviously have their draft day history. Trae Young tweeted he was never going to leave. I thought it was really poignant and also put some cold water on the idea about the Supermax or what he was going to turn down in his contract. But I wanted to ask you this because I know you guys were very emotional. You were weeping. You were almost crying. You basically did.
Go ahead.
You basically did.
Well, you see your large adult Slovenian son in that much pain, it hurts you as a parent.
Did any anger
Yes.
sneak into your
Yes.
emotional spectrum.
Well,
That's what I was
mean,
like
here's the thing.
befuddled. I'm like, I can't believe this is happening.
You're happy, though. He's a
Well,
Laker.
that's
so.
the thing is I'm in a weird spot because I can't imagine how livid I would be on Luka's behalf if this had happened and he was traded anywhere but to LeBron's team. Because, like, so for me, it's weird. I'm not angry. I'm absolutely over the moon thrilled. But I got angriest on his behalf after the game because he had a weird slip-up with what he said on the court to Lisa Salters, where he said, I get to sleep in my bed tonight.
Oh, man.
And it's where it's like he still feels like Dallas is home.
Yeah.
And, you know, and so like I'm sure he has, you know, a nice rental home or whatever in LA, but he feels like my home, my bed is in Dallas. This is my arena, my fans. And so I think Trey got it exactly right. He has been, do you guys remember like 4 games into his Lakers tenure when he really was kind of uneven? I said, I think Luka's sad.
Oh, yeah.
And I think this was confirmation. And I also think he is still somewhat in shock and also betrayed. Was reported by, I think it was Mark Stein, a feeling of betrayal, which is it's not just that you traded me. It's not just that you didn't give a heads up. It's also that evidently you guys thought I was a loser. You guys have gone out and said, I don't work hard, I drink too much, I'm not a winning player. And I thought, little did I know, you know, I thought we were building something that's going to last 20 years, and you guys thought I was a problem. And so I think all of that came out in that in this reaction to the video.
All right, when the game started, Luka's eyes were dry and his shot was wet. 31 points in the first on 6 for 8 shooting from 3. Heat end the game, Brew, with 45, 8, and 6. Brew, your reaction to Luka's performance?
Yeah, I mean, fantastic, obviously. And he hit his first shot and then missed his next 2. And at that point, I started thinking, he might struggle tonight. And then he hit 3 threes in like 3.5 minutes, and it was off to the races. So, like Nick said, I mean, I mentioned it earlier. LeBron responded, you know, to the negative atmosphere in Cleveland. Luka responded to this love fest in Dallas. And it was interesting. Jason Kidd mentioned this after the game, too. He said when Luka had 31 in the first half, it was a 3-point game. Like, Lakers were up by 3. Lakers pulled away in the second half. Luka still had 14, but, you know, he wasn't dominating in the second half like the first half. And I brought this up a couple of weeks ago. You wonder, if you're an opponent of the Lakers, do you consider, we're just going to guard Luka one-on-one. If he goes for 50, it is what it is. Right. And maybe do you have a better chance of beating them that way than, because he's going to get 30-ish anyway, even if you double him. And then if he's getting assists and all that stuff, that's when you're in trouble. But it was fantastic. And I also thought this thought hit my mind last night. Particularly, I think the team was surrounding Luka, the Lakers, at one point on the bench. That was a moment that I could see. I mean, they obviously were very good anyway and playing well. But that's a moment that could galvanize the team to win it all. And certainly if they do win it all, there's no doubt people are going to go back, and that moment and that picture is going to be a big part of the story, because the way they had his back, the way he was hugging guys coming out of the, you know, right before the game,
Intros.
I mean, like head in their shoulder.
Yeah,
it wasn't just like a regular bro hug or anything. So I think it looked like LeBron was emotional too.
And then during the game, the Austin Reeves putback and the Home Alone celebration from LeBron, and then there was another one later. Wild, not trying to encroach on your territory.
This is my thing. Do you want to use the pencils?
No.
If you want to do it, you got to do it the whole way.
No, you do it before I go. Give us the vibes check.
My antennas were up during that game. Lakers vibes are sky high. I'll be honest with you. They're high.
The vibes are unbelievable. And here's the other thing that we saw. So that was a glimpse of playoff Luka. Mm-hmm. And so he had 40. That was his first first or second 40-point game as a Laker. I don't quite remember.
I feel like it was his second.
But regardless, like him going for 40 in the playoffs, he does it with more regularity than any player, oddly, other than Devin Booker, who he has a playoff history with. But look at, so this is all the active guys and their career 40-point playoff games. He, again, only Harden, KD, and LeBron have more than him. He's been in the playoffs 5 times.
Yeah.
But he's played 50 games. And so that was a preview of it. And here's the other thing about them guarding, if teams do guard him one-on-one and let him cook early, you got a preview of that as well in this regard. You got a preview of what I've been able to be in gear 2 for the first 3 quarters LeBron James looks like, which is LeBron in the fourth quarter was the best player on offense and defense, was flying around because he had a real reserve, the likes of which he's not nearly the same athlete he was, but you used to see in Miami when LeBron could take time off, D-Wade would cook, and then late in the game, he had so much extra left in the tank. And so I also thought this was another example. We have seen the Thunder try to do it. We then saw the Mavs try to do it. A 2-big lineup against the 0-big Lakers doesn't work as far as being able to guard them. Maybe you can kill them on the other end as well, but the Mavs were bullied out of playing the 2-big lineup in the second half because Luka ate it alive. And so I thought that the Lakers side of the game was about as good as you could have asked for, and defensively they held them under 100, and then
quickly I want to talk about the other side of it.
Yes.
I had one take chip on, you know what, no one's got this take. I'll try to grab this territory. Maybe Anthony Davis says, you know what, I was also disrespected. This is my building, and I'm going to spoil the Luka parade. No! That did not happen at all. He was just a total
non-factor.
Afterthought, non-factor, supporting actor in the Luka show. Yeah. What was your reaction to AD's lackluster performance?
I thought he played better than he did. He wasn't horrible. He was just kind of blah.
Yes.
I did think he played better than that, but that's been Anthony Davis.
That's what I was.
I mean, look, the Lakers, I think LeBron was ready for him to take the reins of the team for a few years, and he never did. And I credit LeBron, because I said this when the trade was made. It's easy for LeBron to say, it's going to be Luka's team, but, on the court, obviously, spiritually, it's LeBron's team. But he's never done that before. And so to do that, it could be tougher. And he's done it tremendously. Like, he has let Luka do his thing, played the background, and then taken over when he needs to. And AD just showed us that that's not who he is, and that's one of the flaws in his game.
Right. And listen, there were a lot of takes flying around over the last 5 years that LeBron was preventing Anthony Davis from doing it. That was never right, and that's not the case. AD last night to me was a good example between an all-time great, which Anthony Davis is, and a legend, which Luka is. Because an all-time great he wasn't bad. Right. He was good defensively. He had a moment, but he faded into the background, which is honestly who Anthony Davis has been the last 5 years of his career. A guy, because in New Orleans, he carried them. They only carry him so far. And his first year with the Lakers, he was awesome. Awesome and big. I think he's been the best rim protector in the league for a half decade. I think it's a crime he'll never win Defensive Player of the Year. That's still there. All those Lakers stats about, they're the free throw differential. Those are Anthony Davis doesn't foul to block shot stats. But offensively, to take a half dozen shots and to them all just be little pick and pop jumpers, there's always, I shouldn't say always, more often than you'd like from one of the 10 best players in the sport, feels like there's meat on the bone.
Yes.
And it's not shocking that he did that. Like, you know what I mean? That he had that game.
He should have went out there wanting to turn the crowd his way. And they weren't against him, but you know what I mean? Like, by the second half, theyh all cheering AD every time he gets the ball.
And against a Lakers team that doesn't have a center.
Right. He
doesn't
should've
have
been
like.
dominant.
And so
LeBron actually was. Well,
LeBron
they had a lot
guarded
of
him a
different
little
guys on
bit.
him,
Yeah.
but yeah.
All right, we'll continue with the theme of former teammates breaking their hearts. Harrison Barnes, back in Golden State for the win. The Spurs beat the Warriors and put the Warriors into the play-in. Here's the standings. Warriors at 7, T-Wolves at 8. Would it be a disaster if the Warriors end up in the play-in?
Yeah, because that would mean they have to win a play-in game. 0 for 3 since in the play-in. You know what I mean? They're the only team that's been in the West that's been on the 7-8 line and ended up missing the playoffs. They did that in 2021, and then last year, obviously, the beam got them in Sacramento in the Klay Thompson 0 for 10 game. So that part's not good. But otherwise, you deal with Houston, who will be rested, young, tough, and at least beat you up, even if you think they're going to win, or OKC, which is a nightmare. Right. So all that's bad. The lack of rest is bad, and past can be prologue, man. It was game 81 last year. This is game 80. Game 81 last year, the San Antonio Spurs, down double digits against a title contender, stage a furious fourth-quarter comeback that alters the Denver Nuggets' seeding and playoff path. San Antonio Spurs this year, without Wemby, without De'Aaron Fox, down double digits in the fourth quarter, stage a furious fourth-quarter comeback that has, at least for the time being, significantly altered the Warriors' playoff path. I don't know if it will have as damaging of an impact, but it could have more damaging of an impact. If that just knocked the Nuggets from 1 to 2, that might knock the Warriors from 5 to 7 or 8, which is a disaster.
Yeah, I said it, I think, when they lost to Miami a couple weeks ago. Horrific loss. And that's what this was. I mean, San Antonio had lost 8 of their last 9 games. And you let them come into your building and beat you. And it's odd because Butler had 28 on 8 shots.
Right, 17 free throws.
Yeah, 16 to 17 from the line. And Steph had 30, and you still lost. Now, it's bad. There's no doubt, because obviously anything can happen. It's not quite one and done, but kind of. You know, you lose one, then you know, it's a very small size, no series. So anything can happen. They're 7-5 against Minnesota, Sacramento, and Dallas. So they haven't dominated those teams. I do think they get out of the play-in and be in the playoffs. And you mentioned past is prologue. The one team that has gotten from the play-in to the finals was Jimmy Butler leading the Miami Heat in 2023. And they beat Boston and Milwaukee and they lost it in 5 to Denver. So they won't be scared. They won't be, shook, which I think will be good for them. But a big problem is they won't get rest either. Draymond's 35, Butler's 35, Steph's 37. So that's a real negative when you talk about going through a monstrous Western Conference.
It also, by the way, because I know right now they're the 7, they probably will move up, but they might just move up to the 6. Now, people will be like, oh, the Lakers have to deal with the Warriors. The Warriors do not want the Lakers in round 1. And so when they were staring at potentially being the 4 or the 5 and having home court advantage in round 1, and also we said it in the open. I want to say it. If you didn't watch the very end of this game, it was at 1 a.m. Eastern. It was the way the great Warrior teams lost games, which is 3 consecutive awful turnovers, possessions where they didn't get a shot. And then defensively, if Draymond is going to try to talk his way into a Defensive Player of the Year award that I don't think his play this year quite merits, then everyone go watch the final 60 seconds of this game when the Spurs went right at him and got a bucket to tie and a bucket to take the lead that set the table for all of this. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.